I want a 4th round finish. I don't want any early knockout, because then there's ifs, buts, maybes, there's excuses. I want 4 rounds of domination, and in that 4th round, I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to do it now, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to finish him. I'm going to open the door, I'm going to walk him into my traps, and I'm going to take his head clean off his shoulders.
But when you hear him saying, I want to fight Islam Makhachev, who is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world now, no questions about it, because obviously Ilya was in the conversation, but then when him losing to Justin Gaethje, Islam is unchallenged as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. When you hear him say stuff like, I want a 4th round knockout because I don't want anyone to say it was a fluke. I want to dominate him over the course of 4 rounds and then finish him, so that people know that it was a thorough beating, not me catching Islam Makhachev.
No guna da dać wyrażać. Hey, ticha, zakał. Bal krasno, молодец. Mama, watch. Молодец.
Being held down for 25 minutes and just having a boring fight. He's a phenomenal wrestler, a phenomenal grappler. And if you allow him the ability to stay on top and utilize his grappling and his wrestling, he can suffocate you and just lie on you like a weighted blanket, and you just find it so hard to move. And I'm like, that's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for me. It shouldn't be fun for him. And it's definitely not fun for anyone watching. So I feel like, and he did that, he did exactly that to win the world title fight. And I feel like that's the worst case scenario.
Ian Garry has fired his boldest warning yet, predicting he'll stop Islam Makhachev in the 4th round and end the reign of the UFC's pound-for-pound king. But as Daniel Cormier backs Garry's confidence and Islam sharpens his relentless grappling, the stage is set for a clash that could redefine the future of the welterweight division, as Ian Garry blasted Islam Makhachev's fighting style, saying he refuses to spend 25 minutes being held down and controlled. He vowed to stop Islam from turning the fight into another boring grappling clinic and promised to force an action-packed battle instead.
Being held down for 25 minutes and just having a boring fight. He's a phenomenal wrestler, a phenomenal grappler. And if you allow him the ability to stay on top and utilize his grappling and his wrestling, he can suffocate you and just lie on you like a weighted blanket, and you just find it so hard to move. And I'm like, that's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for me. It shouldn't be fun for him. And it's definitely not fun for anyone watching. So I feel like, and he did that, he did exactly that to win the world title fight. And I feel like that's the worst case scenario.
Former UFC fighter and analyst Daniel Cormier believes Ian Garry has the length, striking, and takedown defense to give Islam Makhachev one of his toughest stylistic tests yet. But he warned that chasing a specific 4th round finish is a dangerous distraction when facing a dominant 2-division champion. In DC's eyes, the only mission is to survive the storm and beat Islam, because against the pound-for-pound king, winning is the only thing that matters.
It is probably the toughest matchup there is right now in this division, being that Garry is so long, he's got great striking, and he's proven that he's got good takedown defense. So he has the skill set to compete with Islam Makhachev. He has that. He has that in spades, the skill set to compete with the 2-division champion. I just think it would be a mistake to tie yourself to something because of a milestone or a goal or something that you put out in front of yourself that doesn't necessarily matter. You just win. Point blank. You just win. And that in itself is going to be difficult enough to do, to not put an extra layer on top of it that is not put on you by anyone else. Who cares if we all say it was a fluke, if you land a head kick or a big punch and knock someone out? Nobody cares what the fans think. Only you and your team should care about becoming a world champion.
However, Daniel Cormier praised Ian Garry's fearless confidence but warned that calling a specific round against Islam Makhachev could backfire badly. He stressed that defeating the world 1 pound-for-pound fighter is already an enormous challenge, and if Garry somehow pulls it off, the method won't matter. For DC, beating Islam is the only statement that counts. Everything else is just unnecessary pressure.
I love confidence. I love confidence. I love a guy that believes in himself. I love someone that's willing to go out on a limb and call their shot. What I don't understand, though, is sometimes a person is misguided in their thoughts, and when they're misguided in their thoughts, they set themselves up for a very, very bad night or a bad result. I'm not saying Ian Garry cannot beat Islam Makhachev. What I'm saying is you got to take that as it comes. You can't try to say, I want to beat the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world in a certain round because I don't want it to be a fluke. If you win, it does not matter how you win.
Shifting to that, Islam Makhachev's crushing clinch game may have broken countless opponents, but MMA CHE believes Ian Garry is a completely different nightmare. With Garry's towering frame and relentless range, Islam's signature Thai clinch, knees, and trips could be neutralized before they even begin. If Garry keeps the fight at long distance, one of Islam's deadliest weapons could be taken completely out of the equation.
And you know, this is something right here that I think is going to be a problem for Islam against Ian Garry. Islam loves the Thai clinch, man. He loves going collar ties. He loves going Thai clinch. Obviously, he's got the judo. He has the trips and the throws. He loves banging knees to the body. That's going to be so hard to get a Thai clinch on fucking Ian Garry with how tall he is. It's going to be so difficult. And he really uses that a lot when guys close the distance with him.
Islam Makhachev's wrestling may dominate the headlines, but MMA CHE exposed a dangerous flaw without the perfect setup. Even his takedowns can be stopped. Against Ian Garry's elite footwork, range, and lightning-fast reactions, sloppy entries could turn into costly mistakes. If Islam can't disguise his attacks with a flawless game plan, Garry could force the UFC's pound-for-pound king into the toughest fight of his career.
Not saying that Islam Makhachev is an Olympic-level wrestler, because he's not. You know, he's not at all. Islam Makhachev's a judo sambo guy. His pure wrestling's not the best aspect of his game. He has good wrestling, but it's not the best aspect of his game. When you look at the JDM fight, what you're going to see there is Islam. He set up the takedown so perfectly. He was using high kicks to keep Jack's guard up, the calf kicks to make him stationary. So, you know, Jack was a sitting duck with both of his hands up, and there was literally zero opposition when Islam dove for his hips. There was no defense. But you parallel that to this, where frankly, Islam didn't really set it up. He just fucking snatched it. He just reached for it, and Dustin Poirier's already there. He's fighting the hands already. He's starting to, try to limp leg out right here, which is very good. Honestly, Islam, good job hanging on to it, but again, it's so slippery without wrestling shoes on. He pulls out. Islam looking for the Thai clinch, though, but it's good defense.
MMA CHE believes everyone is overlooking the biggest danger in this fight. Ian Garry isn't just another opponent, he's a stylistic puzzle unlike anything Islam Makhachev has faced. He still gives Islam the edge, but only if the pound-for-pound king unveils a completely new game plan capable of shutting down Garry's movement, range, and takedown defense. Otherwise, the undefeated Irish star could push Islam into the most dangerous and unpredictable war of his UFC career.
I think it's interesting. I think when it comes to somebody like Islam Makhachev, who's so dominant and he's such a high-level guy, and you look at his last performance against JDM, there's a lot of people who just kind of feel like they're just kind of like, hey, Islam will just win. It's magic. They're acting like it's magic. There's like, yeah, he'll win. Because he's just that good. He'll just win. And look, is he gonna beat Ian Garry? There's probably a very solid chance that he does, to say the least, obviously, but he needs a very good game plan, and we already know, right? He's going to have to use skills we've never seen him use before, closing the distance against such a tall, rangy guy with really good footwork, who, does a very good job using head movement on the outside and having his hands down for underhooks and things like that. That's how he kind of stopped every takedown from Belal. Islam needs a very specialized game plan and a very specialized approach. And if he doesn't have a super solid game plan, he struggles at times, like we just literally saw, right? There was no game plan. He went out there and boxed him and tried to just grab him. That was the whole game plan, and there were moments he struggled. Still, he's so high level, he got it done, and again, I think he probably won every round, but it's interesting. I think it makes this fight against Ian Garry very fascinating.
Islam Makhachev past opponent Della Maddalena admitted Islam Makhachev's top control is one of the toughest weapons in MMA, saying once Islam pins opponents down, escaping becomes incredibly difficult. He recalled getting trapped under that suffocating pressure and praised Islam's ability to dominate from the top rather than chase reckless finishes.
He's good, like his top position's good, right? He's good at just holding people down, pinning. He's like pinning, and I got stuck there.
Yeah.
Moreover, Colby Covington completely dismissed Ian Garry's chances against Islam Makhachev, claiming Garry is far too weak to handle the UFC champion's physical strength and relentless pressure. He mocked Garry with a series of personal insults, insisting Islam would overwhelm him with ease and leave no room for any upset. Covington made it clear he's backing Islam without hesitation, arguing the champion is on an entirely different level. His fiery comments turned the potential matchup into an even more explosive rivalry before the fight is even official.
Islam Makhachev versus Ian Machado. Garry, who do you favor in that?
I favor Makhachev for sure. I think he's just going to take him down and dictate his pace and put the fight where he wants to fight. He's too strong for that little twig, that little cuck that sits in the corner and watches his wife get dogged out by the nutritionist. So
Belal Muhammad believes Islam Makhachev's fighting style is so dominant that many fans still fail to appreciate just how special it is. He argued that while critics focus on entertainment, Islam keeps extending one of the longest active winning streaks in the UFC through complete control and championship-level performances. According to Belal, every victory adds another chapter to Islam's legacy and pushes him closer to all-time greatness. In his view, Islam isn't just winning fights, he's building a resume that could define an entire era of MMA.
What do you think happens here between Ian Garry and Islam Makhachev?
I just think a lot of people are just underestimating Ian. I think he's very smart with the way he fights and the way he strategizes and game plans. But obviously, Islam is pound for pound, right? I definitely think Ian's a live dog, right?
How impressive it would be hitting 17 straight wins.
That's crazy, right? And it's so easy to lose in a sport. Anything could happen. Like you could literally walk and slip and catch something or get caught with something. So what he's doing is wild. And now to do it at 2 weight classes is even bigger. I don't think that people understand how hard it is to put that big of a streak on or get a double-digit streak in the UFC. It's one of the craziest things. And then you're fighting the best guys in the world every single time. Yeah, I mean, that's going to put him on close to that Mount Rushmore, right? At what point do you be like, oh, he belongs up there? Like, they're not mentioning his name.
In the end, Ian Garry ignited one of the biggest debates in MMA by boldly predicting a 4th-round finish over Islam Makhachev. While Daniel Cormier respects Garry's confidence, he warns that defeating the UFC's pound-for-pound king is far more important than predicting how it will happen. As Islam continues sharpening his elite grappling and relentless pressure, Garry insists he won't allow himself to be trapped in another 25-minute wrestling clinic. MMA CHE believes Garry's size, movement, and takedown defense could create stylistic problems Islam has never faced before. Former opponents and rivals remain divided, with some praising Islam's suffocating control, while others believe Garry has the tools to make this a genuine war. With opinions split across the MMA world, this potential showdown is already becoming one of the sport's most anticipated matchups. Now the biggest question remains, can Ian Garry back up his fearless predictions, or will Islam Makhachev once again prove why he's the most dominant fighter in the UFC? Only Fight Night can reveal who was right. Until then, the debate is just getting started. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest UFC news, fight analysis, and exclusive updates. Turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest stories from the world of MMA.